Hello world, Frida Reba Darcy and Patricia O'Connor here. We are currently enjoying this trend of spring-like weather. In keeping with our spring-like trend, this wisteria is getting ready to bloom. So I brought it in so I could experience it. In keeping with spring-like, nothing quite says spring like all of the seasons all at once. And by that I mean it's 50-ish. The sun is in and out all day. And dark clouds, bright blue sky, and showers. So it is very much an early spring day. And the cypress trees, actually the show hen is still sleeping. But all of the rest, the grouping has well and truly woken up and is starting to go from little bumps to little buds. I wish it were a little warmer. These things would be even faster to pop open. Our oaks are popping open. Our dawn redwoods are popping open. Our trident maple starts and stops and starts and stops. It was probably one of the first trees to start showing signs of spring, but it's still coming up from the rear, I believe would be what I would say. The pines are still showing their little colors. The little wild wisterias I have going here, they are all showing me that they are alive and ready to do another year with this. Cork bark oak is still showing its winter foliage, its winter colors. It never really goes dormant, but it doesn't really lose all of its foliage. It just kind of gets a little ratty in the winter, I suppose. We look forward to a really big year with this guy. We're going to continue with what we've been doing, watering it and feeding it and giving it regular feedings. These guys got watered this morning, courtesy of the rain. It looks like that guy may not have, and these guys didn't. So at some point I'll come through and water everything from here back. And this is a little quick look at our pines. I'm considering whether or not I should prune these tips back on this ponderosa, and I don't want to push back where it's coming out. I want it to come out more. But some of these other buds or other parts are a little long. I was kind of wondering whether or not I should bring those back. Probably not. Maybe do all that at once at a later date, and I'll just let everything continue to show its figure. In the very background through all of that, there's a branch that I would probably trim back by half. That guy. But I should probably wait. Just like one or two of those that I see, which is probably not a good reason to go hacking into that. Plus, it's been hogging the show here lately anyway. All of these guys look like they're ready. They're ready for a little slurp, as I say. And you can see this little root ball is just now dry. So this method of keeping everything farther back has worked out. When I first put these trees here, they didn't look like they were doing as well up here as they would do down there. I think it's because the intensity of the light is higher, a foot or two closer to those guys. But I think that since that time they seem to have adapted, and also since that time the weather bringing water this far in method, I started mushing things farther back. I never seemed to have the trouble with the larger little pines that I was having with the especially small ones, but I think now they seem to have adapted, and all of them are candling or one stage or another of candling, which is way early. When I was talking to Eric about that at the show, it was the raffle came up right as we were doing that. So I'd kind of like to finish up that conversation, but basically what was discussed was first year seedlings are highly susceptible to not only change of light hours, but change of light intensity or anything else. So basically going maybe from a greenhouse environment where they were before at the farm, Scenic Hill Farm Nursery, for these larger, really healthy pines, into either daylight or artificial light, either one would have maybe caused them. So to that end, nothing that I've had over a year is doing that. These guys aren't doing that. That guy isn't doing that. Little Frankenpine is not making candles. I do see where it's starting to, but that's not really, it's not doing it like the others are. The others are well on their way. I mean, that's you know, that's well on its way. And I think my method on that, I think the part where it's making candles now means no more food. No more food. Well, let's see. If I prune the candles on this guy this year, I'm still going to wait until it's late in the season and cut the candles when I'm calendar supposed to, even though this guy developed in so early. That would, you know, if it had started in May, then come end of June when I'm supposed to cut candles here in the Bay Area for small needles for like Shohin and Mame and stuff like that, when you want the tiniest needles. Earlier, if you want longer needles, right? End of June if you want tiny, earlier in June if you want longer, because that gives the second flush less time in their growing season to respond to being chopped. So normally a tree like this would get cut, its candle cut at the end of June. Now, it should look about like it does now when I would be doing that. It would look just like a candle, and I would go in there, and how much of it would I cut? I would cut all of it off. I would cut it off right there where it starts being green. And what would I get from that? A cluster of more buds. And then what would I do with all those buds? Would I bank all those buds? No, because then you can cause yourself problems. What you should do is pick down, if you get over 2 buds, you should pick down to 2 and clip or pinch the other 2. And that's how we try to maintain vigor on a pine in short. I'm not quite sure what to do with this because it started early. I suspect the answer to that is clip it when I would normally clip it, but it's going to look so much like regular growth. It will look more like something that's fully in length and all that other stuff when I cut it. Also, because it's doing that now, I think that means that I should have stopped feeding this already, and we want the nutrients to work their way through so that when we cut the candle, there will not be an abundance of stuff hanging out. You know, we're not feeding it so that it can then turn right around and make long needles again. It's supposed to have less time and a little less energy for needle making when we do that, so that it will make a smaller needle. That's the point in candle cutting. So that's a little look at our little guys and how everybody's looking on this spring. I gotta say, I don't really feel like this is a cloudy day, though. That's the majority of what it is, and that's even what the forecast had called for. But the sun is just so in and out today that it makes for a more interesting day than something that I would describe as a cloudy day. Also, there's a couple of these trees that I don't feel I'm done with. Like, I feel like I did what I wanted to do with that cascade back there, and a couple of these others came out right. But some of these other big trees might have, I think that one's on a good foot. But a couple of these others, this one I feel I need to give attention to. I've got some folds in there but I didn't scale the folds in this tree tighter to compensate for the fact that it was a bigger tree. And to scale, it doesn't look as tightly wound as some of the others. Same with this guy. And by that I mean this guy right here. The one behind it, that is a little open too, but I would like to probably hang with that. And this one back here that's coiled, that should all be tighter, and it should be maybe a little less of that and a little bit more varied, you know, like maybe a circle of that and then a little up and down stuff, or some up and down stuff in it. So I think I want to tighten a few of these trees up, possibly tonight or possibly in the next couple of episodes. Don't be surprised if you see me pulling those guys in. So at this point, I'm going to put down my watering can and hang up my camera, and then come back here and finish watering a couple of these guys for realsies. And it's a pretty spring Saturday. Little blue sky, little deep clouds, little chilly wind. It's sweater weather in the Bay, California. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Our next drop will probably be tonight, when I will be doing some sort of tree maintenance, but possibly reworking a few of these pines, getting them to something I'm a little happier with. I don't think I'm finished with the motion that I put in them quite yet. And we'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching.